Hello and welcome back to another Saiyan Strongman steroid cycle. Now, as usual, before we begin, I'm not a doctor or physician of any kind, and I'm not advising or instructing you on the use of performance-enhancing drugs. We're just talking about what I do for the sake of competing. Now, last time when we talked about, I think we already went over May, but May has been altered, and the reason being is I will now be competing at Southwest Regionals in Texas on July 12th. So we're actually going to go over the competition itself after that we go over the cycle, but for May and June, it's going to stay the same. Or rather, they're going to stay the same through May and June. We are changing to test SUST at 500 milligrams per week, test P at 100 milligrams per week for a grand total of 600 milligrams of test per week. EQ is going up to 900 milligrams per week. The reason being for that is that the EQ is going to build lots of muscle mass, which is lean muscle mass. It's not going to come with aromatization or the process of converting into estrogen, so you're not going to have to take as much aromatase inhibitors like Aromasin or Arimidex. You want to avoid taking all the extra Aromasin and Arimidex because they're really harsh on your heart and on your system in general, especially for prolonged use. Now you might be saying 900 milligrams of EQ doesn't sound great for your heart either, and well, it's not, but this game is about minimizing how many risks you take while also trying to get the best out of yourself. So anyways, let's continue. Tren E is going to be at 200 milligrams per week. We're not going to go crazy on the Tren with such a high EQ number. Anavar will be at 50 milligrams a day. Proviron at 50 milligrams per day. We haven't talked about Proviron before. Proviron is a mild dihydrotestosterone steroid. It's mainly good for binding to SHBG, which we'll go over in another video. That basically allows the more binding to SHBG there is, the more there is what they call free test or the available use of test. Anyways, let's continue. Aromasin, that's our AI inhibitor, is going to be at 12.5 milligrams 3 times per week. And finally, it's going to be Cialis at 5 milligrams per day. The Cialis is going to be to help regulate our blood thickness, especially because that EQ is going to make our blood really thick, as well as we'll be continuing our blood dumps every 2 months, donating blood to help with that as well. So yeah, that's what the cycle is going to be looking like through May and June. It is going to change at the very end of June going to July. In those last 2 weeks, we're going to alter it just a bit to maximize what we can get out of this cycle for the competition. After that, we'll most likely go down to some kind of TRT cruise, depending on what happens, and then into a PCT, because that's a pretty hefty cycle. That's why we're going to limit it to this next about 12 weeks or so from when we're making this video. Anyways, now let's move on to the competition itself, the somewhat justification, or so as we call it, for this amount of use. So of course, like I said, it's the Southwest Regionals in Texas. There is 5 events as per usual, and I will be competing in the open men's division, which is the heaviest division, 265 pounds or more. And I believe there's going to be 15 athletes, including myself, in the super heavyweight division. So the first event is a medley of log, axle, and circus dumbbell. The log is 270 pounds, which you have to press for 1 rep. The axle is 275 pounds. You have to clean and press this for 2 reps. And then the 185-pound dumbbell has to be repped for as many reps as possible. The second event is going to be the Kabuki Max Deadlift, a classic of Strongman. The deadlift, gotta have it. I'm going to have to put a lot of work in my deadlift in the next 10 to 12 weeks to be able to compete with some of these bigger, stronger guys on the static events. The third event, this event I'm excited for, although it's going to definitely be very painful. It is the Zercher yoke into sandbag steeplechase. So it'll be a 485-pound Zercher yoke. You'll run this for 25 feet, run back, and then load a 300-pound sandbag over that yoke. And then once again, you have to Zercher yoke the 485 back to the start line, and you have a total of 60 seconds to do this. That is going to be a rough event. Really test our cardio and fitness as well as our strength. The fourth event, yoke is going nowhere, but this time it's a traditional yoke into power stairs. For my division, it's going to be a 745-pound yoke for 25 feet, 2 ways, and then the power stairs are going to be 340 pounds and 373 pounds. Now, I don't have a power stair set up to train on, so we might be going into that absolutely clueless, touching the power stairs for the first time. We'll see how that goes. And then last but not least, the deciding event will be the farmer's walk at 305 pounds per hand for 50 feet 2 ways. This is going to be a grueling contest. This contest is, like I said before, not only going to test your strength, but really test your fitness, your conditioning, especially in the weather that it's going to be like in the middle of Texas in July. It's going to be hot and brutal. This is really going to take it out of us. But I'm excited for the competition. I'm going to do my best, and hopefully this cycle is going to help us out as well. So thanks for joining us for another Saiyan Strongman Steroid cycle. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to talk a little bit shit, put that in the comments, and we'll see you next time.